Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig and Shaka and Jan.
Extra Time's going to be short.
Okay, well, there's quite a few questions, I will say.
Well, I don't tell me that. Too much waffling on the main show.
Okay, you two are having a big argument, you and Jan.
Well, he's sticking up for kids that are not kids, that were kids.
24-year-old, almost 24-year-old kids. All right, Jan.
Do you notice nobody jumped to the rep? Waffling. Move on. Waffling. Jan.
Did De Bruyne play so well last weekend because he got the Jan haircut before the match? He must have the same barber.
Yes, that was the only reason. De Bruyne has used his time outside or outside with an injury to have a look at my haircut. I think that... Yeah, it's quite good. Quite good. What was more interesting, I don't know if you saw that, but it was interesting when Pep were to put him on. For different reasons, he was standing there for 4.5 minutes talking to him. And it was quite interesting because, you know, at St. James's, you're just sitting behind the bench as a journalist, and you're just sitting there watching them. And it was very interesting to see. De Bruyne said after the game they couldn't agree who to take off, but it seems that they were talking through different kind of position that he could get into, and oh wow, they found the right one.
You know how Jan goes to... You know how he's very rarely at home and he goes to lots of games? De Bruyne has definitely seen him. Prancing around Manchester, just popping up like in pizza shops and...
The question is, he goes to his barber and does what? Shows him a photo of Jan.
He goes in.
I want one of these.
So he was watching FC on YouTube. He definitely wasn't doing that. And he went home to his missus, De Bruyne. He went home to his missus and kids. He went, "I've seen this guy." He said, "He turns up at every freaking game, but I like his hair. That's the one for me."
Or he went to Erling Haaland and he said, "This guy that is stalking you, he got a good haircut."
I'm expecting to see them pop up all over the Premier League now. All right, Shaka. I love the name here, at Taller Than Shaka, by the way. Shaka, following up on yesterday's discussion, how is your relationship with the TTFA now? Did you end on good terms at the end of your international career?
Well, right now it's not great. I've been a little bit too critical, so it's not been great. I ended up in good terms. I went back to play the national team because Bertha Sinclair was appointed national coach. He's the player who gave me my youth debut, and so I was kind of happy to let that go under the bridge. But I'm a little bit too opinionated at times.
So the grudge is their side. Grudges are not a good thing.
No, I'm not bothered. I'm going on with my life. They're going on with theirs. There's
no meeting in the middle.
No.
Is that because they're not
on separate ways, and everybody's happy?
Shaka, is that because they don't pick you anymore, or what's the reason for the critic?
Just the kids.
Yeah. No, they left me out a long time ago.
All right.
So it's time to move on.
Yeah.
You have bigger fish to fry.
We've both moved on.
Exactly. You do commercials and you.
Well, you know,
do
these film things.
I'm into acting now.
You've been acting up lately, I tell you.
Some great usernames tonight. We've also got Craig's Raging Positivity. He hasn't stepped into the positivity.
Yes, yeah, that's right, Craig. Showing a lot of restraint.
Yeah. Craig, now that Ivan Toney is back from his ban, will anything be said about it in the locker room, or is it back to business without a thought?
Said about it? There wouldn't be a day goes past that he's not getting his ribs tickled about what he did. And I'll be honest, I haven't read up completely on the whys and where-nots about the betting. All I know is he's been banned, but you just know in a dressing room, the boys will know. There's nothing that is sacred.
Nothing's sacred, yeah. You get stick.
He's getting stick. And you didn't stick.
Score a couple of goals and then everything.
And by the way, Brentford, the bigger picture here is whether Ivan Toney leaves or not, or somebody pays the money for him, which I very much doubt in January, is Brentford are in free fall. They're just above the relegation now. Lost in the FA Cup yesterday to Wolves after being in front, and really need to get somebody back because, you know, they could be in a position that they're potentially heading back to the Championship, and they've never really been a side that looked like that was going to happen. So it's a important timing for Thomas Frank to get him back and get him playing, and he'll be hoping that if they do sell him, it'll be in the summer.
As transfer season is on, can you share how things were in your time? We have heard how there weren't any defined windows, but how did it all start? Did the guys have agents, or did they and their family manage contract talks? What about you, Jan?
Yeah, well, I never had an agent. That is point one. So when I did moves, I used PFA when I was in England. When I went to Germany, I used a lawyer to see through my contract. But I can use the example of when I was going to Middlesbrough and I was playing for Swindon Town. We were at the bottom or the middle of the table in the Championship, and Middlesbrough was going for promotion. And I was one of them. When Brian Robson called, I said yes before he came to the R in his second name. I was like, hello, this is Brian Robson. Yeah, I'll sign for you. But now it wasn't that. It wasn't not 100% like that. But it depends what stage you are in your career. I had played in the Premier League. I've scored many goals in the second part of the season. I went down in the Championship, kept scoring, but still you wanted to get back in the Premier League. But I knew that Middlesbrough, the potential they had. But I was very keen to get away because you felt that when you go in there, they were going into a new stadium. And I saw Brian Robson and Viv Anderson. We met somewhere in between, and they showed me photos of Riverside Stadium. They showed me, or they talked about the potential and so on and so on. So I was quite easy to talk into that move, to use that as an example. So I think that it all depends where you are in your career. When I went to Germany, I was more desperate to get away from sitting on a bench at Barnsley because John Henry tried to be a wannabe manager at that time. So I was sitting there. So I was just happy to get to the Bundesliga.
Shaka?
When I started, well, I had an agent, but it was not a full-time agent. It was an accountant, and it wasn't done. Yeah, pretty much. It was only when I moved to Newcastle I got my first full-time agent. Two gentlemen, Jonathan Barnett and David Benassi, who started Stella, now one of the biggest agencies in the world. But even then, I was the first Premier League football on their books. So that kind of full-time professional agent and agency was very new. It was very new.
You were the you set the wheels in motion.
I did.
Yep.
I most certainly did.
Pied Piper.
Yes. And what do I have to show for it?
And they come sat here with us.
Banned from the TTFA.
Do your own contracts. Some of them I did my own in the early days, and others later on when I was making a couple of big-ish moves that were for, well, it was a lot of money back then in the 90s. You needed somebody to do that for you because negotiations were ongoing from both sides. So that was too difficult to do on your own, to be honest with you.
Left it to the people who could do all that talking.
Yeah.
Talking's a problem.
All right. For Jan, who will have a more successful rest of the season, Sancho or Werner?
Ooh.
Well, good question. Two players that I like, even they're not both kids, just one of them, Jadon Sancho. But I must say, first of all, I wish them to do well, because these are two players that followed through their career. They had different angles to this. Sancho he's put a lot in himself, because you can't blame the manager, you can't blame the club, because you always have to see that you have a short career, that you have to look after yourself, do the right thing, have the right attitude. Timo Werner is a bit different, because Timo Werner is a player lives from his confidence, and you saw that after the game now, talking about that it was so convincing. He's talking to Postecoglou, I think I can improve here, and then of course his stats as Chelsea is not as bad as everybody wanted to have them, because they just wanted to confirm the narrative of his career there. So I would say that I think that Timo Werner, if I've said in goals and assists, I would say Timo Werner.
All right. With De Ligt now sidelined for 6 weeks and Kim already away, do you think Dragusin regrets choosing Spurs? He could have been a starter at Bayern for Champions League matches. Also, how well do you think Dyer will perform under Tuchel?
Well, look, Dragusin has made a decision. He thinks that's for the benefit of his career long term. He's only just got there, so I think regretting it would be the wrong way to look at it. He's at a very progressive, I'm not going to say progressive club, but certainly a very progressive coach. And I think for Eric Dyer, I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad player, but whenever I've watched him in the last couple of years, if I'm watching as a neutral, he doesn't fill me full of confidence defensively. I think there's always a mistake in there, and I think he's a bit cumbersome and not the quickest. And we'll see how that pans out.
Can Tuchel get what he needs out of him, Jan?
We just saw in the show, we saw Blind scoring for Sevilla, Girona. And when he came to Bayern, he never got a trust and he didn't play well. It was not a great signing. And I said in a German program that I think maybe that Dyer could be the same kind of player for him. It helps that Tuchel wants him. It also helps that Tuchel doesn't rate or trust De Ligt, so Dyer will maybe get his chance. But I think it's quite interesting that he's coming as a replacement for Dragusin, because he was the first choice of Bayern, and it's quite interesting to see that Postecoglou can't use him, Tottenham can't use him, he can't get into the team there, so he's gonna then improve Bayern that much. I don't think that math will kind of equal.
You're saying, can Thomas Tuchel get what he needs out of him?
What he needs out of Eric Dyer.
I'll tell you what he needs out of him, another 5 miles per hour. Well, but I'm being honest, because Bayern Munich generally dominate a lot of the games in Germany and play a higher line because they're squeezing the game. And what they need is the same as what Tottenham need under Postecoglou, is defenders with a little bit of pace. And it was one of the reasons, not the only one, why Postecoglou didn't fancy him. Because they squeeze the game and they play high up, and that's why they've got Romero and Van de Ven, who's super quick. Now at Bayern, he doesn't, as Jan said, and rightly so, he doesn't fancy the Dutchman De Ligt. But guess what De Ligt is? He's a kind of, if you look at him and Dyer, they're very similar in terms of the figures, in terms of how they run, in terms of the pace. They look cumbersome, they look a little sluggish, they get caught in behind. I don't see. He's getting an experienced player who, A, wasn't deemed good enough to get in the English national team ahead of defenders that weren't playing for the club, and he's been surplus to requirements here at Tottenham. So good luck to the boy, but I just don't see how he improves him.
I don't like Dyer as a centre-back at all.
No.
Even when he was playing consistently for Spurs, I just felt that there was a mistake there, or Craig would say, you give me the heebie-jeebies. I just never liked it at all. And as for Dragusin, listen, you make a decision, you live by it, you know, and what happens elsewhere is none of your business at this point. So, no, to the question, he's not regretting it, he's getting on with his business.
I'm just laughing that Eric Dyer's continuing to be talked about at length.
Oh, so people keep bringing it up.
All right, last question. Does Jan still think that Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland will play together one day?
Yes, I do.
At Real Madrid?
That was not the question. Is that from Kay?
It's my question.
Yeah, no. I think it's when we've seen Erling Haaland's career that it seems that he wants to play in different leagues, and I say no reason why Jude Bellingham should leave Real Madrid. And if Erling Haaland then will move on, where do you go from the treble? Where do you go from the best team in England? And you've been in Germany already. Then you will go to Spain. Where will you go to in Spain? Then you will go to Real Madrid, and Jude Bellingham is there. So that's my simple math based on facts.
So this summer?
Oh.
No, I can't. I'm just speaking of my opinion, but I can see no. Why should he go now this summer? He is at the best team in Europe.
Yeah, and do me a favour here, just to finish off. Can you put those glasses back on for me? Put those glasses. I'll tell you why.
I saw
put them
you.
on, I'll tell you what. Right, I'll tell you why. No, leave them on. Leave them on. Leave them on.
No, I
No,
would
no, put
never
them
do
on.
whatever.
Put
Okay.
them on. Right. Kevin De Bruyne might be stealing your hairstyle.
But he won't steal my glasses.
Trust me. I'm selling the house on this one. There's no way. He's gone home to his missus going, you know that guy with the haircut? He's got these cracking glasses. And she runs down to the pound shop.
$30.
Now, if he turns up
$30.
Go to the pawn shop. Is that where Jan got his glasses?
The pound shop.
$30.
basically.
Dollar store in America, pound shop in Britain.
If you see Kevin De Bruyne with the glasses on, I want your house. I want your house. and I want you out. I want you out.
I tell you what, if I ever see him with those glasses on, I'll pay you $500, right? Guaranteed.
$500.
Is that how much your house is worth?
I haven't got a house.
You're going to buy a house back for $500.
There's no way in the world. There's no way in the world. $500. That's the safest $500 ever. There's no way.
Safer than your house.
I will find a photo of Kevin De Bruyne with the glasses on.
Now,
I mean, what's
AI,
the place?
what is it, AI? Can AI do that these days?
Absolutely.
Oh, somebody's going to do that now, isn't it?
I'm just checking that we haven't already been sent something before I say goodbye to everybody. Oh. There is, in fact, a picture of Kevin De Bruyne.
No, they're different.
Send the check.
His shape's a little different. His are more square.
No, they're sunglasses.
Where to send his check, Jan?
No, but have a look. The hairstyle's different.
This is Kevin De Bruyne.
You didn't say both. You just said glasses. You just said glasses.
But that's fine. It has to have those glasses, which are not them, and the hair.
Okay.
I'm changing it.
Yes.
Can't be.
That was the quickest backtrack I've ever
Quickest
seen.
$500 I've had for a long time.
You see, you notice, never stuck for an answer, see? Never stuck for... can't have the Kevin De Bruyne spiky and the glasses. It has to be the Alice band and those glasses.
Okay.
Go on and on and on. $500. I'll send you my account number.
500 coming your way.
$500. All right, that's it for the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. We'll be back to do it all again tomorrow.